Good morning, everyone. Welcome. My name is Menachem Creditor. It's my honor to serve as scholar in residence and rabbi for UJA Federation of New York. We bring you Torah and music, blessing, and community every weekday. We've been doing so since March 18th, 2020. It is Friday, November 15th, 2024. That's more than 4.5 years of Torah every single day, of finding each other, no matter where we are around the world, saying good morning by name, and helping lift the world 1 millimeter closer to how it ought to be. Today is broadcast 1176. It is day 406 of the war. Let's see who's here so we can say good morning. Rosa, it's good to see you. Arlene and Meirav, Bensi. Hi everyone, Boker Tov. Hope that you and yours are safe and well. Let's see who else is here, and then we'll get started. Susie sending love. Chana, hi, nice to see you. All right. It is lovely to see you and sad to be back from Israel, but good to be home at the same time. Judy, good to see you. Natalia, Boker Tov. Hi, everybody. Hi, Arlene. Jonathan, good morning. Sunday and Shari, Jacqueline, Deborah, Boker Tov. My screen just jumped, and I think I might have missed a few people, but let's see who else is here. We'll get started in a second with the bracha for learning. Deborah, Cecile, April, Linda, good to see you. Hi, Marcia. Okay. Let's take a breath, everybody. Tara, good to see you. Chana, good to see you too. Hi, Kim. Sharon and Lydia, good morning. Hi, Arlene. Chana, no, not a new guitar. Okay, deep breath. Everybody. It's good to see all of you. I hope that you and yours are safe and well. It was an unbelievable honor to be present in Israel on the Interfaith Clergy Mission that was led by the Westchester Jewish Council with support from UJA Federation of New York. We had a tremendous time, and it raced by, and it was full of meaning. I'd love to just jump into some reflections and also share a little bit on the Parsha, and then we'll wish each other a Shabbat Shalom. It is broadcast 1176. It is day 406 of the war. It's Parshat Vayera, and this Parsha includes the binding of Isaac, which is where most people spend most of their energy when talking about the Parsha. But the truth is, the opening of the Parsha has a very significant message that gets really overpowered by the rest of the Parsha. And the story of Sodom and Amorah, Sodom and Gomorrah, is an incredibly important part of the Torah portion that also is somehow, even that is overshadowed. And that tells you a number of things, just to open up. Number one, the relationship between Abraham and Isaac and the implications about God carry our attention, captivate us so very much. And I understand it, I really do. Once I think about the binding of Isaac, nothing else actually enters into my parsha. It was Arlene's husband's bar mitzvah parsha. It was my senior sermon when I was becoming a rabbi at JTS in New York years ago. And the understanding that comes from looking at a microcosm of relationship, meaning the interpersonal relationship as a comment about all of humanity. That's one of the things that this parsha does. The binding of Isaac is, of course, about Isaac and about Abraham and about God, but it is also about all of us. Looking at a small example, no matter how great the people were, helps us think about a collective value statement. How we read the Akedah, how we read the binding of Isaac, impacts how we treat each other. It results, I hope, in us clutching our children, holding them closer, because on the one hand, as Rose is saying, and this is a classic reading of the binding of Isaac, it shows Abraham's obedience to God, but it does show also the deprioritization of Isaac's individual experience at the very least. And it shows that, at least in that textual experience of God, the ethical was overpowered by the divine command. This is what Kierkegaard calls the teleological suspension of the ethical. And philosophers like Maimonides, and after him Soloveitchik, and many in between and since, see Abraham as a knight of faith. But I don't. And the intense experience of being at Kikar Chatufim, Hostage Square, just yesterday, was a compounding of this pain, a compounding of the message. If you have visited Tel Aviv in the last 406 days, you have stopped at Kikar Chatufim, at Hostage Square, and there are evening services and singing gatherings. There is testimony from family of hostages. There is testimony from released and rescued hostages. There is artwork that is searing, sounds that are inescapable. There's a replica of the tunnel that hostages were kept in as an experience of going through, and I saw, but I couldn't bring myself to participate. There's a VR, a virtual reality experience of the tunnels too. I know someone who did go through that experiential thing, and it was intense for them. I had the honor, with my sisters and brothers of different faiths yesterday, of sitting and bearing testimony to a young man whose adoptive brother is captive and has been held captive, hostage, for 406 days. And he shared his story, and I have family in Tel Aviv, and was so blessed that I was able just to share a hug. And my two nieces, the first children in our family to be born in Israel, great point of pride. My two nieces, who are very young, the only time we could work out to see each other was when I was with the group at Kikar Chatufim, at Hostage Square. And I worked out with my sister and my brother-in-law that I would be able to walk away for a moment, but then I'd have to go back. And so I saw them out of the corner of my eye, and as quietly as I could, absented myself. And as I saw them and walked toward them, my young nieces ran to me, and I scooped them up, and I held them in my arms, and I was so deeply aware that I was in Hostage Square, where all anyone wants is to be able to scoop up their family in their arms again. The story of Abraham and Sarah and Lot and Hagar and Ishmael and Isaac is a lot about this. Now, it's a different moment, it's a different circumstance, it's a different genre of expression. The Torah makes you think. It isn't always a gentle prod, sometimes it is a jolt to the system. And when I read about Lot, last week's Parsha, and Avram's parting ways, Avram's the initiator out of discomfort. You go your way. That is, losing one child, Lot was Avram's adopted son who traveled with him. And then in this week's Parsha, the loss of Hagar and Ishmael. That's the loss of another. First of all, concubines, and that's very strange language for us, but it was a beloved position. And Ishmael was Abraham's firstborn, even in the Torah's understanding. So that's the loss of a second child. And then with this command, the loss of a third. And unfortunately, friends, that is not a thing of the past. But the way that the binding of Isaac is portrayed both in the Torah and then in later traditions, many later traditions, it makes the command from God something that sounds admirable to follow. In fact, at the very end, the blessing to Avraham is because Avram didn't, you didn't hold your child back. But I can't imagine a person of faith, a person of conscience, following this command. Give up your child. Now, when children are drafted into the army to protect the family, that is an echo of this. But to sacrifice a child, it's the worst thing. It's the worst. And the faces of children and grandparents and babies, my nieces know the names of the children still held hostage. I know we're going into Shabbat, and I experienced deep, deep joy in Israel too. The work that is there is amazing. The peacemakers that still believe in their work, that's amazing. But what I really want us to hold on to for a second is that even though so many of us have been wearing this necklace and holding the hostages in our hearts so much that the necklaces rust and our eyes get tired from it, that is nothing compared to the ache and exhaustion of the families of the hostages. And yes, there's a lot of other stuff to talk about. And yes, I'm making a connection between the Parsha and the hostages, and I'm clearly making a comment about God and the Torah's portrayal of obedience in the name of the unthinkable. But I walked arm in arm with my sisters and brothers, Christian of many denominations and Jewish of many denominations, and please God, again, one day with Muslim officials and imams from Westchester. We did sit with many Muslim leaders of the Druze and Bedouin and Israeli Arab communities. No one wants this for their children. Anyone who would speak praise about this kind of an action, it's a dehumanization of one kind or another, and in fact, I would even call it a demonization of God, a diminution of God. God is bigger than that, and we have to be bigger than that too. Just a few days ago, on this broadcast, I was blessed to have Deacon Juan Martinez, who spoke about his notion of sacred space. What makes a place sacred? God declaring it sacred is one thing. The way we conduct ourselves is another. And I would challenge us to think about ways in which we could elevate the space around us by treating people with greater sanctity. Hostage Square is sacred space. It is there that the demand to be seen as human and remembered. I carry that with me. There was an image that I will not forget. It wasn't at Hostage Square, but it was nearby on Rothschild Avenue, sort of the main drag in Tel Aviv. I was watching a group of Israeli high school students, and they're sitting on benches, and the benches are covered with bumper stickers with faces of the fallen and beautiful, inspiring quotes from them. And right next to them was a huge poster of Eden Yerushalmi, a young woman who was executed as one of the 6 hostages executed in one day. She was found holding Hirsch Goldberg Poland, he holding her. And the line right above her head was, Al tishkechu oti, beseder? Don't forget me, okay? We have an obligation, and this parsha makes it even clearer. I want to close with the opening of the Torah portion because it really brings us home. The first verse of Parshat Vayera is Vayera elav Adonai be'elonei mamrei v'hu yoshev petach ha'ohel kechom hayom. Translation that I have here is, and God appeared to him, to Abraham, by Elonei Mamre, the terebinths of Mamre, as Abraham sat in the tent door in the heat of the day. And we think, by the tradition that we have, by Midrash and other imaginings, because of the juxtaposition of what came right before, we know what Avraham is going through. He has just circumcised himself. And so he's sitting at the entrance of the tent in the heat of the day to heal. And God visited him, it says. Vayera elav Adonai. God appeared. The very next thing that happens, hear the verse, and Abram raised his eyes, and look, 3 men stood by him. When he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door and bowed himself to the ground, brought them in, offered them lodging and food and comfort. And the Midrash suggests that greeting another human being is so important, it even takes precedence over being present with God. Avraham basically was talking with God. God was comforting Avraham. Avraham was in deep physical discomfort. And Avraham says to God, I'm so sorry, I have to run. Humanity needs me. These people need me. When people need you, that is what comes first. That is a very intense comparison with the binding of Isaac that happens later in the Parsha. I know it sounds heretical, but I want to say it again. When people need you, God comes second. Put people first. Now, that has incredible ramifications for every dimension of human conduct. But I stood on holy ground yesterday, Hostage Square, where all anyone wants to do is scoop up their family and take care of them. And there I scooped up my nieces. I just felt their hearts near mine. And that's all I want for anyone else. It's all we want. That's what the phrase bring them home now means. So I ask you to double down, friends, on, as Rosa's pointing out, on what it means to greet other human beings by name, to say good morning, to say their name, and to scoop up our family, and to demand the right for them to be scooped up too. We want them home. And yes, Shari said it just right. That's the synthesis here. By putting Hashem's children first, which means every human being, aren't we putting Hashem first? Yes. 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 Because if we build this world from love, then God will build this world from love. So, on this 1176th broadcast, on this day 406 since the war began, let's take a second while we sing for Shabbos and think about the way we can put people first again. friends. Let's send our hearts to the east. Kolon balevav pnima nefesh Yehudi homia ulefatei mizrach kadima ayin letzion Sophia Od lo avda tikvatenu התקווה בת שנות 2000 להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון וירושלים להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון Yerushalayim. Bring them home now. Am Yisrael Chai. Shabbat Shalom, friends. See you on Monday.